I've been so busy. It's lockdown. Anyway, it is 10 o'clock now.
It's 2 o'clock, and welcome. One second here. Yeah, welcome to NASFiC 2020 in beautiful Columbus, Ohio, and elsewhere. This is the COVID FX Selling Your Wares panel, and the description is how has the pandemic affected our science fiction fantasy professionals and creators who rely on foot traffic to sell our wares? Join our panel of booksellers, artists, musicians, and other creatives as they share impact stories and strategies. My name is Jude Marie Green, and I just discovered that if you click my name in Discord, you'll see all my ribbons. Okay, and just send us your questions via chat in Discord. As for me, my bio, I write short science fiction, fantasy, and horror. I've been published online in anthologies, magazines, podcast by the amazing Tina Connolly and Toasted Cake. Attended Clarion West, won the Speculative Literature Foundation's Older Writers Grant. And I've recently delved into the mysteries of selling anthologies and my collection of short fiction that I edited and self-published. Okay, that's me. Let's have our panelists introduce themselves. Alison?
Hi, I'm Alison Scott. I'm a British fan. I do all sorts of different things in fandom, but one of the things what I do for my real life is that I sell t-shirts and button badges online, and I do that at conventions sometimes. And although my business is online, I have found the process of transferring button and pin sales to online to be not that straightforward. I was joking about having a really in-your-face Zoom background of the sort that you're not supposed to use, and I don't normally use it on regular panels about fandom and about other things, but when I'm on a panel about selling my crap on the internet, I absolutely go, yeah, buy my stuff, go, leave this panel right now and go onto the net. Oh no, don't do that. But yeah, it's quite hard. It's much easier if you're in a dealer's room to say, come and look at my stuff. And people are like, how much are those badges? And you go, they're £1. And they go, oh yeah, I'll have some of that. If you buy 3, you get 1 free, yeah. So.
Okay, Michael?
Yeah, hi, I'm Michael R. Underwood. I'm an author, podcaster, and publishing person at large. I've got about a dozen books out across a variety of series. My latest book is Annihilation Aria, which is a found family space opera adventure for fans of Guardians of the Galaxy, Firefly, and things like that. I've also been a bookseller, a commission sales representative for publishers, and I was the sales and marketing manager for Angry Robot Books for about 5.5 years. Which often included going to conventions like Worldcon or Origins or something like that, and having a big booth for Angry Robot and selling, books by the, 2 here, 4 here, 10 here to people here and there, and that kind of drew on my bookseller background. And since leaving that job, I haven't been able to do that kind of in-person selling as much, but I really enjoy it, and I'm happy to talk about it. That's me.
Hey, Valerie. Tell us about yourself.
I'm alphabetically not last. How unusual. Had to get that in there. All right. I'm Valerie Estelle Frankel. I write books about analyzing Hamilton and Guardians of the Galaxy. This one's a parody. Superheroines. I'm just kind of going, what's over here? Doctor Who. Hobbit, another parody, figures, Game of Thrones, Sherlock. There's quite a pile over here. Okay. Now, the wonderful thing is these actually do sell themselves based on Amazon keywords. I mean, my Hamilton book is actually near the top if you look up Hamilton on Amazon. So these things kind of sell themselves. But I certainly enjoy going to conventions, and yeah, the thing where I spread them out on a big table, make friendly small talk, and do the whole thing. And now here we are. I'm at Silicon Valley Authors in the dealer's room at this con, but we are sitting here going, Discord isn't the same, and how do I, and where do I, and why would you buy this if you can't see my smiling face and play with the item? So it's a different world.
And then there's Zoom. Hey, Wendy, tell us about yourself.
Hey, Jude. I'm Wendy Van Camp. I am a veteran dealer of over 20, maybe even 25 years now. Most of the cons that I've been selling at yearly have been on the West Coast. Some of you may recognize me from Indigo Sky Beat Fashions because I sell science fiction themed jewelry. However, about 2010, I got bit by the writing bug, and I've been slowly segueing over into becoming an author. So I consider myself now to be an author, poet, and illustrator. And just since everyone else is, here is my book, and it's called The Planets, a sci-fi coup poetry collection, and it is nominated for the Elgin this year, which is kind of cool. As for sales, I have had to make some changes. I mean, I used to only sell in person. It just was easier for me bookkeeping wise. I didn't have to shoot pictures of everything. But with COVID, everything has changed. And so what I've decided is I'm not really selling my jewelry anymore because they're all one-offs. It's very labor intensive to put it online. But I do also illustrate my poetry. So I've created an Etsy store, and I put my poetry prints up for sale there. I've set up a whole way to sell them, and I'll go into that in more detail during the panel. And if you're interested, if you click on Discord, you click on my name, not only will you see my ribbons, but I have set up my No Wasted Ink website there. You just can go ahead to the link. That takes you to my website for readers and writers of science fiction and fantasy. I have author interviews, I have book reviews, a top 10 of writing links on Mondays, and of course you occasionally get to see some of my new poetry. You can find me on Medium. I publish there in magazines quite often, and I'm in a small online service for my writing called Curious Fictions. So if you go there, you can see some of my poetry as well. It's all kind of new, but I had been an Etsy seller in the past. So for me, the transition may not have been as difficult as it was for some, but you know, we're all chugging in there, doing the best we can. And I'm kind of looking forward to this panel because this is, you know, marketing is my thing. I love to talk about it. So this should be fun.
Wow, I noticed that three of you mentioned that transitioning to online sales was a little bit tough. Does somebody want to address the challenges of that?
Well, I could go over the process since I just recently set up my Etsy store, because there's a lot more to it than just popping your items online. There's considerations of SEO, which is search engine optimization. For all of your entries, you have to not only write your descriptions so that they can be readable by human eyes, but they also need to be able to trigger the algorithms in the search engine on Etsy and elsewhere so that it brings people to you first and then they make that decision. You have to take photos of everything. Originally, when I set this up, my first online venue was Comic-Con San Diego. And I really just threw up my art as is without any, just the weaker versions, not the print versions that I strike prints from, but the online versions that I would use that are, the resolution isn't as good. So if someone's going to steal it, they don't get the really good print from it. But I would just put those up blankly. But I found that even though people looked at them, and I do sell my prints in person at the art shows for years. I mean, so I know they do sell, but they weren't really being presented as well. So I did some research and I found that most people that sell art put them in what they call a mock-up. And so what I did is I took all my prints and I put them into a mock-up of a framed image, which if you go to the art show here at NASFiC, I am one of the artists in the art show. You can actually see my mock-ups right there on the gallery page. You don't even have to click through to the Etsy store. So if you're curious about how to mock up your art, just go ahead and have a look and you'll see an example right there. But there's more even to that because you have to set up what is known as a back end online. So Etsy is kind of my store. They run the shop. They actually funnel customers to me. But then I also have another service that I use. I just happen to use one called Ship Pirate, or Pirate Ship, I'm sorry. They have a pirate motif. It's kind of cute. But what they do is they offer me discounted postage service, and I'm able to do all my packing and shipping through them. They handle all the background work that Etsy requires, because Etsy takes a fee even off your shipping fees, and you have to account for that even when you use the other shipping service. But what I like is they actually total all my sales, keep it on record. So when it comes time for me to do my taxes, which is another bookkeeping thing we have to do, they have it all set up for me, and I just have to press a button and it comes in. So I'm able to ship my books that way, and it doesn't have to be an Etsy sale. It could be Shopify. It could be directly from me. It doesn't matter. But they handle all that for me. And so between the two, the Etsy and that's great. And then, of course, for books, I'm in Amazon and all online retailers. So Amazon basically cuts me a check once a month if I've had sales. And all the other outlets are handled by a service called Draft to Digital. And so I usually will get a check from them as well. And I won't go into some of the other things I do because, I don't want to take over this panel. But essentially, that's been the transition. I used to go to art shows, bring my matted prints and put them up on the boards and have people come through and see them and buy them through the art show. Art show would take a cut, and whatever didn't sell, I would come there at the end of the con. And meanwhile, I'm doing programming and all that other stuff that the rest of us do. And then I would just pick up my stuff and go home. Now, what we're doing here with a virtual con, I do send in my images ahead of time. They were put into the art show. And by the way, I really think the art show gallery is beautiful. I really kudos to whoever set it up. It was wonderful. But then I do that, and they put a link to my store, which is all pre-set up. So in some ways, going virtual is easy, but that's only because I've done the background work beforehand, which literally took weeks. I mean, it took a long time to get everything set up. So I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to hog things. So next.
Sorry about that. Hey, Allison, I love your background, by the way. Yeah, I'm a big button collector.
Yeah, well, you should check out my Etsy store.
I will, and keep doing that.
So I was going to talk a little bit about the difficulties at conventions in particular, because I think, especially if you're used to the dealer's room being a place where people chill at conventions and come and just spend some time in a more relaxed place. It's quite a good place for people who aren't already part of the crowd to meet and chat, because dealers are always very personable and always very happy to chat. And if you're not quite sure about just striking up conversations with people, you can go and talk to the dealers. And it's a social space as well as being a selling space at conventions. And I feel like we've not really solved the problem of how to translate that space into virtual conventions yet. And I don't know about everyone. I will compare the experiences of Worldcon. Now, I was very busy at Worldcon because I was doing a lot of other things at the convention. But even had I spent my time 100% looking after my dealer's table, I do not think it is a place where a lot of people were. I don't think it's a place where people thought that we were creating any sort of space where people wanted to spend time. And I feel like trading is a very big part of a lot of physical conferences, and it would be very good if we started to find a way of making those trading spaces good spaces to be in at virtual conventions as well. And I just don't think we quite got that right yet. And I mean, I didn't quite sell nothing, and I wasn't just at Worldcon to sell. But if I'd been a trader who'd maybe bought a couple of memberships and the table fees, at that point I would have felt that Worldcon was not delivering a good return for me. And so I think that's quite difficult, because I think that the dealers and the traders of all kinds are a very, very important part of what we do at a convention in particular. And I think that's a bit of a shame. So I would like to see us do a better job of it. In terms of transitioning my business online, I transitioned in the other direction. I had an online business, and I started my business with the motto, no I don't know what we're allowed to say on panels.
Well,
It's probably a family-friendly convention. No effing craft fairs, because I had a lot of friends who saw stuff at craft fairs, and what they often told me was tales of, you get up at 6 o'clock on a cold morning in December and you absolutely load your car full of all of your art and books and whatever else, and then you drive for a very long way, and then you set up your stall, and then at the end of the day you have made enough to cover your table fee and your petrol. And I was kind of like, I'm never ever going to do that. And then a couple of years later, someone was like, well, would you like to just sort of have a suitcase full of stuff at my next convention? I was like, oh, go on then. And I found that, in fact, as long as I was going to the convention anyway, it was pretty lucrative. And then I started doing a couple of events that were kind of close to me. So it was easy to just kind of pop along and do. And I have a huge benefit, which is that, like at Worldcon last year in Dublin, there was one other button seller, and they were all doing pop culture buttons, like stealing other people's IP and sticking it on a button. I mean, you know, like Nintendo characters and Doctor Who characters and so on. And I just don't really do. I do a few jokes that are kind of related to specific IP, but I basically don't just put other people's art on my badges and sell them. So they weren't competing with me. So there was nobody else in the entire dealer's room who was competing with what I do. And at that point, you're kind of going, it's okay, you know. And I was the only person doing Prodad badges, and I just sold thousands of. I sold every Prodad badge I took. We had no Prodad badges left at the end of Dublin, apart from like really weird Prodads that nobody actually ever uses. But the regular Prodad badges they'd all run, and things like that. So yeah, so it was really, really good. But then and then that's kind of all gone away now. So I had a whole plan to go to loads of little conventions near me and big conventions not near me for a year, and now I'm kind of like, oh, I'll just kind of sell things online. It's not quite so much fun.
Pretty awesome. Hey, Michael, so like a slightly different thrust for you, the same basic idea, but do you see that the bigger name publishers are kind of, you know, they're going online, but not giving it quite as much attention as those of us who have things to sell, who have maybe just need a little more publicity?
Yeah, what I've seen is that publishers are leaning kind of more into their own content marketing. So they're creating the events and the activities for promoting their authors, especially around new releases. I know that Orbit Books has very specifically been doing like put 2 or 3 authors together for a video chat, and they promote it on all of their social channels. And that is often an author with a new release and a either more established author or another author in a related subgenre, so that those authors have a nice conversation. For myself, I had a new book out just in July that was supposed to have come out in May, and we pushed it back. And I did a 2-author event with an author friend, Valerie Valdez, who has a wonderful space opera book called Chilling Effect, which has a good like kind of tonal and content overlap with mine. And we already knew each other from conventions and playing games online. So we had a really productive, fun conversation that was it was fun for me to do. Like I came away from it more energized than when I went in. So that was really beneficial for me as a creator. But I think it's emblematic of the types of content marketing that authors and publishers are doing in terms of how can we create something that is worth someone's time and attention, so that while they have tons and tons of options, you know, they can go on Netflix, they can be watching, you know, something on HBO, they can, you know, unplug and read a paper book, which hopefully we want them to do after they've bought a book. Because conventions are now everywhere, we're competing with each other for people's eyeballs in a different way than we were if we're talking about like who is at this Worldcon this time. You know, if we were all in Columbus, people at panels would be opting in and geographically bound in a way that someone who is watching NASFiC Columbus from New Zealand is not. And I think the big framing or the focus has been, how do we create interesting conversations? How do we facilitate something that is worth somebody tuning in. And that's largely going to be about personality in some cases, and it's going to be about content in others. Like personally, I do actual play video and podcasts. So a friend who already has a Twitch stream at twitch.tv/ArvinEleron, that's my friend Gregory Wilson. So he hosts us playing things, and then we put it into a podcast, and that's the type of content marketing I was already doing and have been leaning into that more because it's all already online. I do really, really miss out on the advantage and the fun of being in a room at a table, because that's been so much of my background. And I feel like it is just a lot easier to make that connection with someone, especially I think Allison really hit that on the head in terms of just how different it is in terms of being able to make a connection like that. I think the Nebula conference is maybe my best experience in terms of a conference trying to create social spaces that are generative and useful and feel like maybe they're not too overwhelming, by using a lot of breakouts and small subrooms. And the team there put a ton of effort into trying to figure out how to, if not replicate, take the lessons of in-person convention running and figure out how to use a different set of technological and social tools to address the same needs and wants.
That was actually kind of awesome. Thank you, Michael. Valerie actually had some stuff she wanted to talk about her shop.
Although now that I think about it, on the question of, how do we transfer this online, the first online con I spoke on during COVID was, a suddenly sprung up one in March or something, and it was having fun with the master of ceremonies actively doing commercials for everybody's products in between the panels, which was nice. They also did a thing where they would go out to the hall and say, okay, everybody, let's see your costumes, and we want to interview some people on Zoom who are standing there in their gorgeous costumes. So both of those really were, reaching out in a way that I'm often not seeing at a lot of these.
Kind of missed cosplay, actually, at these virtual cons. I have a friend who goes on to Zoom chats having matched his Zoom background to his outfit, and I think that's quite clever. I wish more people did that.
I'm dressed up fancy up top, but I'm barefoot because, why?
Yeah, and there's the kind of recency and seasonal aspect of cosplay that I feel like we're really missing out this year. Like, I was expecting to see a whole wave of Witcher cosplay, and there will undoubtedly be that wave, but it may be delayed, and it won't feel as much like it is like a tied-in, connected echo in the way that fandom kind of something explodes and then it manifests across all of these different fields and disciplines that we have.
Oh, absolutely. And back to, the buttons and, everybody wants the slogans. Yeah. Going back to what Wendy was saying about an Etsy store, I started an eBay store way back, 10 years ago or something, maybe more. I usually just do it at the holidays because that's when book sales go mad. And yes, it's all about keywords because I label my stuff something like new signed autographed Harry Potter parody. And I'm not misleading people. My cover is different from the Harry Potter covers, but anybody who searches for like signed Harry Potter or anything, my stuff pops right up there. And then I get all these cute little questions about who signed it. And I'm going, me, and I'm not J.K. Rowling, but I wrote this book. And while I'm at it, I add, if you put a note in the comments saying for my beloved granddaughter, Sarah, or something, since I, the author, am sticking this in an envelope, I would be very happy to write that. Or, say something funny, or, yeah, why not? And then, yes, I personally will pop this in an envelope at the post office. I do not do, I haven't been looking for somebody to give me a mail discount because, as the book people tend to know, if you tell them you want it book rate, that is a little slower, but certainly a good deal. And I just go online and buy batches of 100 cardboard mailers now and then. And I do have to bother taking them to the post office, which is another reason I tend to do December instead of year round, where, you know, I get one random one in July and it's just like, fine, I'll bother you doing a thing. And I have to remember to keep them in stock because, honestly, as the author of 80 books, it is actually easy for me to just not notice I ran out of Hamilton or whatever, which is a good thing about packing up for the cons, because when I do that, I notice that I've got 2 of this and 3 of that. No, I sold out of this one. Whereas when it's all over the house, I don't know. But keywords are key. And again, I'm not trying to fool people that I'm George R. R. Martin, but if I can express that people who like Game of Thrones will like my stuff, and if you're buying a gift in December or November is even better, for a Game of Thrones fan, this is where to go.
That was kind of unfair to me, of me, Wendy. Hey, so yeah, I just, any comments? I know that you used to trundle bookshelves and boxes and cases worth of books and art to the various conventions, and it was exhausting.
Oh, well, I'm so used to it. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this 20, 25 years. And if you think it was exhausting to run a book thing, because Jude Marie, Valerie, and I, we've actually been on tables together, so we all know each other, just disclosure here. But yeah, I would for the last several years, I was actually running a group table for our various writing organizations. And yeah, I would have to schlep things. I have to be at the dealer room at a certain time. I have to check in. There's certain etiquettes and protocols that nobody tells you until you've actually done it a few times and you learn the ropes, that kind of thing. I'm now referred to as the old guard, according to some of the other vendors. So that really blew my mind. But anyway, it is a lot of work, and I'm finding now that I'm doing more programming because I'm an author and a poet now, so I am asked to speak at panels, and I do readings. I do have a reading coming up at NASFiC, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, I believe at 5:30. But anyway, I like not having to be at the dealer room table all the time. I used to think that's all you did at the con. I didn't even realize there were panels for probably the first 10 years because I just went, I worked my table, and at the end of the day, I'm on my feet all day interacting with customers. I'm not going to parties afterwards. I'm going back to my room, or I'm going back home and getting some sleep for the next day. So it wasn't until I started being a writer and suddenly people were going, well, Wendy, why are you not doing programming? I went, huh? What? It was like, I didn't even have a clue. But the thing is, because I'd been a dealer for so long, it was just very easy for me to make that shift because everyone knew me. They knew I was reliable. They knew I'm not going to pull some kind of shenanigan or whatever. I'm just good old dependable Wendy Van Camp. So it's actually been a nice transition for me. Even though I love jewelry, I've been doing it over 20 years, and I know women are going to chase after me with a wet noodle because they want their earrings. But I'm a writer now and a poet, and this is kind of what I do. And I do the illustrations now with my art. It's a simple line art. I do publish them in magazines. In fact, I think Jude Marie has picked up in her magazine some of my poetry art. And thank you for that, Jude. Yeah, it's just been a transition. I will say online, we do not see the sales that we did at our tables in the dealer room. But, you know, I'm not there for the whole con either. I'm out and about. And if you're online, even if they give you a channel, people are not necessarily stopping in yet. So we still need to work on it. But I'm finding as the months go by and I'm attending more and more of these virtual events, I think we're starting to figure it out. I mean, if you'll notice here at NASFiC, the combination of Discord and Zoom for the panels, Discord for the social aspect, and the nice gallery links to all the stores for the dealers and for the artists has really been very streamlined. It has not been this way at all cons. People have literally been having to figure this out by trial and error. But I will say I've been really happy with the virtual cons in general. I think it's more accessible for everyone, for both attendees and for us, the artists and dealers. So I'm hoping this kind of aspect will remain, even though I do miss the room. I mean, like it was said before, you know, we as dealers, we sit there, we chat with people, and you know, I'm a people person. I mean, even though I'm a little bit of an introvert, when I'm behind my table, it gives myself this kind of mental license to be more extroverted, I guess, because I have this table that defines my space. So as an introvert, it helps me be more social and talk to people. And I've met people from all over the world at cons and had the most interesting conversations. And I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. It's really been delightful. And I hope to be here for many more years to come. What can I say? However we do it, either in these panels online or back in the old way in our rooms. So again, I don't want to hog things. So go on. Clear.
I totally have not been sitting in my Discord dealer's room uploading photos and products while we've been talking. No, 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 no.
I didn't, for various reasons. I'm not trading here, and I slightly regret it now because I think they've done a really good job of surfacing the dealers, and hopefully it'll go better for people. I think I think specifically they've said there's a specific trading hour or something. I felt at Worldcon, I think having parties in particular blocks was quite a good thing, and I think we could maybe do that with dealers as well and say, well, of course you can buy stuff from the dealers all weekend, but we're going to have an hour where what we're doing at this con is showcasing all the stuff that's available to buy and how cool it is. And I think you could do a kind of show and tell hour where people come along to Zoom and can point out something awesome that they've just picked up as well, and that sort of thing would be quite good fun. So there are things that people could do, but I feel like they're not quite there yet. And it's not like it's a service to members, because people really like to be able to buy cool stuff that they can't get elsewhere. And although people have websites, if you're a small trader and you're selling something on a website that nobody else sells, like nobody else is selling Valerie's books and nobody, you know, or Wendy's art, and it would be good if we could find a way of getting that stuff clearly in front of Worldcon attendees. And I suppose the art show helps as well there. That people I hope people will go and look at the art show pages. I think the art show is very clear and easy. If I'd known how good, clear and easy the art show was going to be to see stuff on, I might say, can I just put a couple? But I'm not really a proper artist, so maybe not so much. But
well, you could have done the dealer room though.
Yeah, the reason I'm not doing the dealer's room is because they said that they would kind of specifically focus on 11 till 3 on Saturday, and I have a commitment that's taking me out of the con for those hours. So
it's understandable.
Yeah, so it would have been a bit difficult. So another time. I mean, there are lots of virtual conventions, so I think trading is definitely one of the things. Yeah, it doesn't stop people.
October, there's going to be like 1 billion of them. I'm just kind of going, you know, can I do 2 in a weekend? Can I?
Well, yeah, I did 2 last weekend, so no, you can't.
I have a cell phone. Put it over.
I'm sort of doing 2 this weekend, and no, you can't. So you'll find you go, oh yes, I'm definitely going to do 2 cons, but what you find is you spend all your time in the one that's just slightly more engaging, and you don't spend any of your time in the other one that's slightly less engaging. I mean, well, and when I say you there, I mean me. You might be different. You might be very disciplined about going, no, I'm going to go do this, and then I'm going to go do that.
No, I agree with you. When I do a con, I like to focus on the one con, because then I'm feeling more engaged. And there's a lot of little things that you could do at a con. And if you're trying to do 2 or 3 at a time, it's just too unfocused. I'd rather be present. So, but yeah, I don't know. But to each their own.
Wow. So we seem to really be embracing the convention, dealers' rooms, and art shows. You know, I do know that before the COVID lockdown, I went on to Amazon to buy books from big name authors or friends of mine. And I went on to Etsy if I had a friend who was selling things. That's how I found out about Giovanni Fregni, by the way. She's got some amazing Iron Age stuff that she does on Etsy. I think she's in our art show. But actually, I've become aware that online we've got Smashwords and Drafted Digital, and DeviantArt is amazing. And there's eBay and Etsy. And let me see here, your own website. Does anyone get sales off their own website? I don't. I'm just disappointed about that.
I don't sell off my own website, but I do get sales by people coming to me directly, because I sell buttons in particular, and because I do custom. That although I sell stuff through my Etsy store in quite large quantity, but a lot of those sales are very small, just a couple of pounds. But every so often someone comes in and goes, oh, and I'm in a shop, and can you sell me 400 of these? And I'm like, let's get off here and have a wholesale conversation. And that's most of my income actually comes from print on demand t-shirts and wholesale badges rather than the retail badges.
And that's exactly it. Sorry. That if you have just a button that says, you know, email me to discuss your particular offer, then they can ask for 400 buttons. But if you don't have that button up, they might not just keep walking. Because I was setting up eBay and whatever, I said, okay, can I do a shopping cart on my website? And it ended up just being, if you click here to do the shopping cart thing, I get an email with a specific subject. That was it. But I put up, once again, if you would like a signed book, just let me know and I'll personalize it and throw in a shipping cost and pop it in the mail. And once in a while, I would get the specialized email. Okay.
You know, on Etsy, you can sell autographed books, and I haven't set up mine yet, but I'm planning on it. And they even have a little form that the person can put in whoever it's to and whatever, and you just set up the shipping for that particular item, so all that's covered. So I really, it's nice having a storefront of some kind to do all that for you, as opposed to just having your own website.
Valerie's not going to be able to use any of her keywording on Etsy though. Okay, so Etsy's really hot on not using keywords where you're not the copyright holder of that keyword.
Oh,
so it does make it very, very hard. And you just need I was going to say I sell on a lot of different print on demand sites, and you need to be absolutely very conscious all of the time on exactly what each site will and will not let you do, because some sites are extremely relaxed about what you can sell, and some sites are extremely not relaxed about what you can sell. And if 2/3 of your income is coming from one website platform, then A, you want to change your income stream so that it's not, but B, you want to be absolutely very clear about what they're going to let you have as a keyword on that site.
So Valerie, do you find that eBay is a little bit looser on the keyword issue? I was not aware of that, but I'm still finding my way on Etsy.
eBay has never squabbled with me about it because, again, I have been pretty clear just the words Harry Potter are in it. But for instance, I am the copyright holder of the book Winning the Game of Thrones, which happens to have certain words in it. So, I mean, that's the thing. This kind of stuff could get flagged by a computer, and I could squabble about it, and I could lose the squabble because Etsy is powerful and I am not. So would I get away with this? I can't guarantee the answer is yes, but it's a weird area because this is actually illegal to do, literary criticism.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, it's all of the platforms are much more restrictive. I mean, I think every single platform is more restrictive than your legal entitlement. And because you are small and HBO is big, I mean, if you do get stuff taken down, and I mean, I got something taken down a couple of weeks ago, my thing was completely fine. It did not use anybody else's IP. It was fine, and it got taken down. And I'm kind of like, you know what? It's just not worth that particular fight because, I'll just make another badge.
Harlan Ellison had a whole essay about his very short employment period with Disney. The same basic kind of idea. Michael had an observation to make. I'd be interested in hearing about this.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out a marketplace that that folks who are watching, especially that are readers looking to get new stuff. You know, I'm in Baltimore. Some of my stores are doing like curbside pickup, or they're doing like, we set up a table outside and everyone has to wear a mask. Like they're finding ways to be safe and still connect with readers. But I've done a lot of my book buying as a reader on bookshop.org in the past months during the pandemic. And they're a newer business that is kind of an analog or an iteration off of IndieBound. So its kind of alignment is with independent bookstores, and a lot of independent bookstores in the US have set up an account on bookshop.org so that you can go and shop from a very wide stock array. But not only does Bookshop kind of put some of the money that they make into a pool that goes to independent bookstores across the US, there's another level where you can buy a book and another slice of what you're paying will go to those independent bookstores. So being somebody who really loves supporting local and independent stores based on my background, I was a bookseller that sold to indies. That's been really great for me. And bookshop.org also has some curation elements where booksellers are able to be like, here are my top 10 COVID reads, or here's a list of pandemic books, because some people respond to being in a pandemic by wanting to read about other pandemics, which is not me, but it is for some people. And I think it's been a really great boon for me because Amazon is already doing very fine during the pandemic. And Bookshop is a great way to save a little bit of money compared to list price, but also being able to support some independence, and you may even discover some new bookstores because again, a lot of bookstores are trying to do events online with authors as well. So I wanted to throw that in there for folks watching.
Jude said, anyone want to address the Spaniards' comment that eBay is the Wild West? I mean, I don't know if the Spaniards spent any time on Facebook Marketplace, which makes eBay seem like a very regulated place to be. So there are websites that are not as regulated as eBay, but eBay, you can certainly get quite a lot of stuff on eBay.
The other side of it is if everybody on Facebook is gathered into a We Love Thor to Death group, maybe that's where you post your buttons.
So it groups, what you do is you ingratiate yourself. So join the group first and become a regular there, or get to know the people and know what makes them tick. And then you kind of go, at the beginning of November, you go, I don't know if anybody in this pigeon fancying group is interested in my range of pigeon fancying t-shirts. They make great Christmas presents for the pigeon fanciers on your Christmas list, and that is very good. But don't just go into groups and post, because you will get thrown out of the group. So most groups the trick with things like that is to just have product that people haven't seen before and that meets their purchasing requirements, because if you're doing something that's different to something they've seen before, they're going to be very happy about it, especially if you're in a niche where there's just not that much merchandise. If all the merchandise is things like, I'd rather be name of hobby here right now, then you're away. You just do some stuff that's specific for that hobby, and you have sales.
Do you find yourself splitting your wares between shops? I mean, you probably don't want to sell books on Etsy. I don't know, actually. But I know like Wendy does books of poetry as well as art, as well as jewelry.
Yeah, I sell lots of things I sell different things on different platforms.
Yeah,
so I don't bring all my stuff to science fiction conventions. I don't. There's lots of stuff I have on Amazon that isn't anywhere else. I'm in niches that you split. You have different niches that other people don't necessarily know about, and different branding. Yeah.
All right. Well, I've just gotten a 6-minute warning. They say wrap up and push your wares. And to be honest, I think I might.
I think we've been doing a lot of that this hour. That's all right.
Okay. Allison, Rage of Pigeons sounds like just the perfect t-shirt.
Rage of Pigeons. Maybe. I'll write it on my list of ideas people give me. If I sell 10 of them, I'll send you one.
All right. So, do you have any last statements to make? And Let's start with Wendy, since Allison was last one to talk. Sorry, Valerie, you're just kind of stuck in the middle because you're not last.
Yeah, for once I'm the last one alphabetically. Hey, Valerie. But anyway, again, my name is Wendy Van Camp. If you're on Discord, just click on the little button next to my name and my info will come up. A link to my website, which is nowastedink.com, which is a site for free reviews of books, author interviews, my poetry, some of my stories. Please sign up for my newsletter. It goes out once a month. I promise I'll try not to bore you too much. What can I say? And and of course, my Etsy shop is there as well. My Etsy shop is exclusively right now for my art prints, but I will likely have autographed books going up there. And I have some pins in the work. I'm going to be sketching pins and selling them, but probably not until next year. So I hope to see you there. Oh, and book-wise, again, I have my latest book, which again is The Planets, a sci-fi coup poetry collection. And please check out my reading tomorrow at 5:30 and the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association. We are holding a group reading for science fiction and fantasy poets, and that's Sunday at 11 a.m. I hope you will join us at that panel or reading as well.
I'm Silicon Valley Authors here at that's one of our vendor tables. Stop by and ask me anything. Like I said, I can make you deals. I can even sign ebooks. Just ask.
I'm Michael. Yeah, I'm Michael R. Underwood. My latest novel is called Annihilation Aria. It is a action adventure, anti-fascist kind of thing. And if you are looking to take a few hours getting away from the world, I would commend it onto you because it's a fun world to spend some time with. I'm actually going to be reading from the book tonight at 8 here at NASFiC. So swing by if you'd like to take a trip around a wacky and fun galaxy. Otherwise, you can find me at michaelrunderwood.com. Thanks.
And Allison.
Hi, yeah, no, come talk to me in the bar, really. I'm hanging out a bit on the Glasgow table. I'm kind of around places. I am currently in the after party for this. I am on, and I have now just added my social media links to my Click on Me Discord thing as well. So you can come and find me. I am on Facebook, and I'm around. Buy my stuff.
Well, let's see.
Enjoy the convention.
I'm Jude Marie Green. I have a reading today at 8 p.m. Eastern. God, I hope it's 8 p.m. And then I have a Broad Universe Rapid Fire reading tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. You can find us on the schedule in case my times are wrong. Yeah, we're going to be doing the readings. And I've got my book, Glorious Madness, which is a collection of my short fiction. It is on Amazon. And I went through the self-publishing thing to get it done, and actually looks pretty good in my humble opinion. And yeah, just come out and anybody who wants to hang out at the Discord, the Scioto in Discord afterwards.
Is that where we're heading?
Okay, and thank you, Espana, for your comments. Those were awesome.
Yes, indeed.
Guys, I think we're under the 1 minute.
Scioto. I think it's called Scioto.
Scioto? Sorry.
Yeah. Or Scioto. It's a river in Columbus. Is that right? I think.
Ah.
That's correct. Thank you, panel, for a very informative time.
Excellent.
Well, thank you, guys. So I guess
thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Nice meeting you, Allison and Michael. Take care, guys.
Oh, it hasn't self-destructed yet. It's supposed to self-destruct.
Yeah, this panel will self-destruct.
First, we share the screen. There we go.
There it goes.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
We put the bumper up.
Okay.